Warning: contains adult content including harsh language, violence, and sexual themes, and may not be suitable for people under age 17.
"Is that a teddy bear?" he exclaimed. Daman didn't look abashed, but rather pleased. He picked up the dark-colored bear and held it up.
"Yes,"
he replied.
"this is Nedley. I sleep with him."
"You, of all people, sleep with a stuffed animal?" asked Nathaniel incredulously.
"Yup,"
Daman said, and he sat the bear on his dresser.
"He's brought me comfort ever since Mum died. I sleep with him because I feel alone if I don't."
Nathaniel frowned, feeling bad for him, his theory confirmed. However, Daman suddenly smiled.
"But tonight I won't need Nedley 'cause you'll be the one keeping me warm."
What?" Nathaniel stammered. I'm not sleeping in your bed with you, am I?"
"Of course you are,"
said Daman slyly.
"but I warn you, I'm clingy."
"I can just sleep on the floor or something," he said, going very red in the face. He was glad it was so dark in the room.
"Nonsense!" Daman laughed. "Now stop joking around and get comfortable."
He then took the shirt off and began unbuttoning his pants. When he noticed Nathaniel frozen to the spot, he furrowed his brow.
"Well?"
I don't just sleep in my underwear," he said nervously. "I sleep in sweatpants."
"I don't own any loose pants,"
Daman said with a derisive laugh.
"Take your goddamn clothes off."
When Nathaniel continued to stand still, Daman rolled his eyes and stepped closer to him. Nathaniel's heart stopped as Daman very slowly began unzipping his jeans. He felt tense, hot, and terrified.
"Oh my word, even your boxers are white."
Nathaniel blushed even harder. "I never wear dark colors," he said, embarrassed. "The darkest I wear is blue jeans."
"That's disgustingly adorable,"
said Daman, and he suddenly pressed his entire body against him, his hands resting on Nathaniel's hips.
"Look, yin and yang."
Yes," he replied in a voice much higher than usual.
"Get into the bed first. I don't like sleeping against the wall,"
said Daman in his usual harsh tone. Nathaniel obeyed, having a strange feeling in his throat. Daman followed him in.
"Does light bother you? I sort of like the black light on."
"No, I actually prefer it too," Nathaniel replied. "I sleep with candles."
"I can't do that on account of I'm sort of a pyro,"
Daman explained, laying back and resting on the puffy black pillow.
"I'd be too tempted to play with the flame."
Nathaniel was laying very close to the wall, whole body stiff as a board. "Heh," was all he could say. Daman looked at him, and then sat up on his elbow.
"So, what'll it take to convince you to get a small tattoo?"
he asked with a grin. "I told you I'm not going to do it," said Nathaniel angrily. "I kissed you, didn't I?"
"Yes, you did,"
Daman said pointedly.
"but I'm not going to stop trying to get you to do it."
"Yes, well, I don't want the pain."
"Doesn't hurt too much,"
he whispered, and Nathaniel felt chills again.
"It's actually quite pleasing after a while, and pleasure is always good, right?"
"I'm not a masochist," Nathaniel replied.
"Neither am I,"
said Daman.
"but it's a very nice sensation. You go numb. I even fell asleep when they did this one."
He lifted the blanket to expose himself to the dim light, and pulled his boxers down just enough to show his lower hip. It was the sigil of Baphomet, a pentagram showing the face of a goat surrounded by an outer ring with the word Leviathan written in Hebrew. A combination of seeing this symbol on Daman's very low part of his hip put him on edge.
"And that one took a couple hours. Not only that, but the hip is quite sensitive. See?"
He suddenly placed his hand on Nathaniel's lower abdomen and gently exposed his hip, tickling it slightly. He squirmed, biting his lip, his stomach doing somersaults, and heart racing like mad. "Stop it," he managed to say, and Daman desisted.
"Aw, you're no fun,"
he said, giving a fake pout.
"So, how about it? Just a little one? Maybe a little cross like I mentioned before?"
"No, Daman," said Nathaniel firmly, heartbeat calming down slightly. Daman sighed.
"Fine,"
he said softly, and just when Nathaniel's heart rate had returned to normal, Daman was suddenly laying on top of him, their faces mere centimeters away.
"So I can't make you do that. But remember when I said I wanted something that I didn't know how to get?"
"Yes," said Nathaniel, very aware of Daman's hips pressed against his.
You told me to just take it,
he breathed.
So, that's exactly what I'm going to do, right now.
He gently kissed Nathaniel. He was so shocked he could barely breathe, and he felt like he was having a heart attack combined with hyperthermia. Damien held the kiss for a few moments, much shorter than the kiss earlier, and then slowly released, looking right into Nathaniel's eyes with a hungry expression. Nathaniel squeaked. Why? He tried to steady his voice. That wasn't just a dare before, was it?
Well, yes,
he replied in a seductive tone.
But I dared you because I wanted to.
I didn't know you were... Nathaniel couldn't seem to finish the sentence.
I'm complicated,
Damien explained.
I don't really know what I am, but I don't care.
He licked the corner of Nathaniel's lips lightly.
I told you I wanted you, didn't I?
He said again. Damien, I'm not like that!
I said I like to try new things. I told you I always get what I want. I said I wanted to try you, he breathed.
I don't want this, Nathaniel exclaimed. I'm not homosexual.
'Cause it's a sin, right?
He said mockingly.
Don't be a fucking prat.
That is a complete misconception, said Nathaniel angrily. God doesn't give a damn about same-sex couples laying together. It has nothing to do with sins at all.
Doing the sin,
quoted Damien. That's just a stupid phrase used to describe fornication, he spat exasperatedly. In God's eyes, it's only a sin if it's for the wrong reasons. Cheating, for one, and then prostitution.
But come on,
Damien interrupted.
Some rules are meant to be broken, goody-goody. I thought you said you were going to take more risks.
This is too far.
Then why do I feel this?
Damien reached down and groped Nathaniel, making his excitement more pronounced. He kept his mouth tightly shut, trying not to let a sound escape him. Natural reaction, he managed to spit out.
Please,
said Damien, again in that odd, uncharacteristically sweet tone. Nathaniel fell silent, staring at his beautiful face that was shrouded by his black and red hair.
You're the only person I'd even think about trying this with.
Why? Nathaniel whispered.
Because,
said Damien nervously,
I've kinda grown attached to you, and I want you to belong to me.
Belong to you? Nathaniel repeated incredulously. I'm not a possession.
You misunderstand,
said Damien calmly.
My belief,
he suddenly looked angry,
the one my father knows nothing about, is that when someone has sex with another, they become one. I drank your blood last night, so I already have a part of you inside of me. But that's not enough.
He looked ravenous again. You're power-hungry, aren't you? Nathaniel asked apprehensively.
Just a smidge,
he replied, his tone returning seductive again. He pressed against him more firmly and gently touched his hair.
You want to,
he breathed. I don't, gasped Nathaniel, trembling.
Yes, you do,
said Damien, so softly it was almost inaudible.
I've seen the way you look at me, seen you blush, observed your body language, heard you.
He brushed his lips over Nathaniel's ear.
Stutter.
Nathaniel closed his eyes and moaned softly, shuddering. I don't know what you're talking about, he mumbled, opening his eyes again.
Liar,
Damien hissed.
You want me to take you. You want to feel me. You've wanted to for quite a while now, haven't you? Wanted to experience my touch, my passion, and my strength.
I don't.
Admit it. Succumb to me. Give me your body.
Nathaniel shut his eyes tightly, gritting his teeth. He couldn't hold it back anymore. Yes, okay? He exploded. I do! I want you to embrace me. I don't know why. I'm scared. But I want you to. I need you to.
You need me to what?
Said Damien tantalizingly. Need you to. Nathaniel felt even more embarrassed.
Say it,
Damien urged.
I can't. Say it.
Nathaniel took a sharp breath.
I need you to have sex with me, he said.
He had never used the word sex in his life, except for when referring to gender. To his dismay, Daman gave a sly smile.
That's not what I wanted to hear,
he growled. Nathaniel could tell he was having the time of his life.
Then what?
He stammered.
Come on, you know the word. You've never said it, but you know it. What are you? Say it, Nathaniel. Be rebellious. I need you to.
Then it clicked. He didn't think it was possible for him to go any redder without blood bursting from his nose.
I need you to.
Yes? Come on.
I need you to.
Daman pressed hard against him again.
Fuck me!
He moaned finally, and Daman growled fiercely, practically ripping off Nathaniel's undergarments. After that, they became lost in the passion of the night. Dawn broke, but there was no way for Daman or Nathaniel to tell since there were no windows in the bedroom. Nathaniel awoke around 8:30. He opened his eyes with difficulty. He couldn't remember staying up so late. It had to have been about 3 in the morning before they finally calmed down and went to sleep. He looked over at Daman, who was still passed out, hair tangled and messy, and makeup smeared under his lower eyelid. He saw his exposed ear for the first time and noticed 5 silver piercings, the lowest one having a tiny ankh dangling from the ring. Nathaniel sat up, straightened his own hair, and watched the sleeping figure next to him. He didn't know what to think or do. He wanted to run far away, tell his father to shove it and that he was returning home, although he also wanted to stay in Damon's bed for eternity. He reached out a hand, placed it on Damon's shoulder, and shook him lightly. He groaned.
Stop it,
he murmured lazily. Daman, it's morning, Nathaniel said softly.
It's too early,
he replied, his words slurred.
Don't want to get up.
Come on, Nathaniel said, a little louder this time. I hate being awake when no one else is.
Then go back to sleep.
I can't, I'm too awake now. Daman gave a very loud, very long groan that crescendoed angrily. He sat up, trying to push his ratted hair out of his eyes. He glared at Nathaniel.
What time is it?
He asked, rubbing his right temple. I don't know, said Nathaniel. Around 8:30, 8:45 at least.
8:30? Oh, come on, man.
Daman closed his eyes, forced Nathaniel to lay down, then rested his head on his chest. What do you think you're doing? Said Nathaniel exasperatedly, flushing.
I'm going back to sleep,
Daman mumbled. No! Nathaniel pushed Daman off of him and forced him to sit up. Don't make me resort to desperate measures.
What could you possibly do to force me not sleep?
Nathaniel frowned, and then got off the bed, put on his pants, and went downstairs. Daman flopped back onto his pillow, burying his face into it. Nathaniel came back up with an ice cube, which he pressed against Damon's lower back. He screamed and fell off the bed, uttering such a tangled-up slur of curse words, Nathaniel couldn't even distinguish them.
You are just the worst kind of person,
he said, getting to his feet with difficulty and giving Nathaniel an angry look.
I warned you, he said sheepishly, shrugging.
Get,
he snapped, and put his own pants on. Nathaniel followed him downstairs, where he collapsed on the sofa.
Get me some soda or something.
Please, prompted Nathaniel.
Do it,
Daman demanded. Nathaniel sighed and went to the kitchen, opening the fridge. He blinked, seeing something you wouldn't normally keep in a refrigerator. It was a small glass vial that was corked and filled with colorless liquid. It was just sitting on its side like it was placed there hastily, and with no intent on retrieving it straight away. He slowly took the small bottle and examined it. It looked like a simple vial with water inside. He quickly grabbed a soda and took the 2 items into the living room. He handed Daman the soda and then held up the vial. Hey, what is this? Nathaniel asked curiously. Daman had just taken a sip when he noticed what Nathaniel had. He suddenly spit out the liquid and shot up, snatching the vial.
Don't touch this!
He bellowed. Nathaniel looked terrified.
Why?
he asked shakily.
Doesn't matter why, just don't ever touch it again.
Okay. Damien strode angrily to the kitchen and put the vial back into the fridge, but hid it in a vegetable bag so Nathaniel couldn't see it again. When he returned, he looked livid. I didn't know.
No, you didn't,
he snapped.
Do you think it's okay to just go around nicking people's shit?
No, Nathaniel whimpered. Please don't yell at me. I'll leave. Damien's expression softened, and then he looked guilty.